Hey everyone, very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all who all are joining us globally. I am Partharu, Events and Program Manager for Microsoft Reactor Bangalore. And yes, I welcome you all to yet another episode of Copilot Chronicles. But before we start our today's event, let's go through our code of conduct. We are all here to learn together, participate together. So please be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, be kind and considerate in a way we all engage. Yes, we do encourage you all to participate. Please drop in all your questions in the comment section and we'll pick it up from there. Now, I would like to welcome Kamalashri, our event host for Copilot Chronicles. She is also a developer advocate at M365. Hey, hi Kamal, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Part. Thank you so much for being back on Copilot Chronicles.
Copilot Chronicles is a session that we never miss, and I have like so many outcomes from this session, and so many attendees been asking questions, and so many of them are also reaching out to be as a speaker as well. So in short, we can connect and possibly uh, start a session. uh, we are doing a session only in a week, possibly like twice in a week we could start again soon.
Definitely, Part. Thank you so much for your extreme support. Indeed, we are getting an overwhelming response for the Copilot Chronicles where people are asking, can I get these topics discussed? Or can I have an option to be as a speaker, or can I get an
Exactly.
opportunity to be as a speaker? And also they're asking, can I have a different format where I could be like in a panelist, or can we have more deep dive discussions? So definitely we're having a lot of inputs from you, so we are kind of rearranging our format according to your inputs, and see how we can kind of benefit you, actually the audience, and get more out of it so that you guys can be increasing your productivity, at the same time keeping yourself updated with the latest updates on M365 extensibilities or Copilot or anything related to Microsoft Suite products. So yeah, without further ado, so today's session is something a very common topic, I would say, but definitely an interesting and intriguing. We all been talking about Copilot, building Copilot, and all that. But today's topic is something a little more further ahead in building more customization of Copilot, and that too using your Azure AI Studio. So we're going to see how we go beyond Copilot Studio, customize your Copilot with the models or filters or the grounding of your responses. So what are these terms? We keep hearing them over and over again and again, but we really need to know what is this grounding, does really, what does it matter, or what are the models available, which one to choose before I start building my bot, or what filters should I apply, because these all are few basic parameters that we have to check before we go ahead and build a Copilot custom one, basically. Or if I have my own data, or how do I evaluate, what if I get errors, how do I modify the underlying code behind it. So we're going to unlock all this possibility of the custom Copilot and Azure AI Studio. So for this, we have our very own MVP, Ahmed Uzar. So he is an MVP and a founder at TechZoetic and a community lead at Power Platform user group UAE. So he's not from India, he's from UAE. So we welcome you, Ahmed, to Copilot Chronicles, and looking forward to your session. And definitely, audience are going to be pouring in with questions, and it will be an interesting topic and a kind of a foundational topic to understand how do you build a custom Copilot using Azure AI Studio. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Sounds exciting. Ahmad, the floor is all yours.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Parth, and thank you, Kamal, for the introduction. Again, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining from. Myself, Ahmed, is here. I'll just quickly share my screen and start the session. Let me know when you can see my screen. Mm, all right.
So in the meantime, Ahmed, how is the weather in Dubai? I know it's
Oh,
hot. I want to
it's
understand from you because you're living there, right?
absolutely. It's super hot. There was a time where when Delhi was hotter than Dubai this time actually, but
Oh,
still it's just the beginning of the summer according to them. So we are
Beginning of
expecting going beyond 50 50 degrees. So
okay. Here we
without
go.
further ado,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna start the session. So myself again, Emma Luzier. I'm the community lead at Power Platform User Group UE, founder at TechVertic, and Microsoft Business Applications MVP. Um, a few certifications, but and the latest edition is Engineer Associate, which you don't see there yet. Uh, so I'm gonna start with what is Copilot. Like as we all know, it's the AI assistant that you see almost everywhere right now, in your Microsoft Edge, on your Windows devices, on almost every application out there. So it's not only a personal productivity tool, but it goes beyond that with all the business applications, be on your data, uh, with the AI Studio, which we are going to talk about today, in your Microsoft 365 applications, be it Word, Outlook, PowerPoint, to build. You can build beautiful presentations with just a few prompts. You can modify your Word documents and format it probably again with a few prompts. It is a part of the whole Dynamics 365 suite, part of Power Platform, of course, where you can build applications and automations with a few prompts. And of course, it goes beyond for to help developers with good GitHub Copilot, to help them build better solutions, right? Um, but of course, these are all built by Microsoft for these specific applications. Apart from that, let's say, for example, if you are an e-commerce or selling specifically shoes, and you want your own Copilot, you have like 1,000 SKUs, and they are good for, they are starting from a price range or certain specific application: running shoes, walking shoes, hiking shoes. You want your to provide your customer an interface or a chatbot where they can actually just ask, okay, what are the best running shoes for this in this price range, or if I go to for hiking uh, to this place, what are the best shoes for me? You don't want like any search from the internet, search results from the internet to show up. You want your products to show up, or to, and again, and so that you encourage the customers to convert and to make a sale, to make their experience even better, right? So for that, we can build our own custom copilots, going beyond what Microsoft has provided. So again, copilots are just a conversational UX, so you make the experience better, right? But that of course has a few parameters. So it provides you with a new development pattern where devs can build safe and responsible, which is the key term, which we will talk about in detail down in a few slides, and make cost effective solutions and avoid any burden of building from scratch, because you have a lot of most of the platforms and the models available out of the box. So it abstracts away all those building your own model, training your model, those aspects from you. You can, again, like I said, you can use pre-built hosted models and bring your own models as well. uh, uh, like if you have trained your own models and they're deployed on certain hosting containers and stuff, you can also bring them to this Copilot. And of course, finally, you can It can assist, of course, when the application comes into play. It can assist with security, search, productivity, and the applications are limitless. So, how to build your own Copilot? Like Kamal just mentioned, so there are mainly two ways. Either you can use Copilot Studio, which is a no code approach where you can rapidly extend and develop your own Copilots. It was formerly known as Power Virtual Agents, which is now Copilot, and it uses topics and entities, and you can deploy to almost every channel, be it WhatsApp, Teams, your own website, and many more, Telegram as well. On the other hand, this is Azure. We have Azure AI Studio, which we are gonna go deep dive in today. Um, so mainly Azure AI Studio, it's a unified platform which provides you with comprehensive AI tools and code-centric developer experience. That's being the keyword, because we will be looking at how you can with Copilot Studio, you have that's a low code approach. With the Azure AI Studio, that's a pro code approach where you can actually um, uh, develop to certain extent without writing any code, and then modify it further, and with more flexibility, giving you more flexibility. So I'll at this point I'll just quickly take you through the Azure AI Studio experience. I'm just gonna share the other screen. Let me know when you can see it again. All right. So let me just get this here actually. So if you log on to Azure ai.azure.com, you will be seeing an experience like this. When you land over here, you can see your projects. You have some jumpstart, quick start videos, and guides. You can view some models that are available, services that you can integrate. We'll just come back to this in a minute. So on the left side, you can see you have all the model catalogs. So if we go in there, you can actually see all the models that are available for you to use. So it's not only from Microsoft or OpenAI, but also from Meta, um, from NVIDIA, and more, and all the Hugging Face models that are available. Of course, you can also build your own models and then publish them as well. Then there's model benchmarking, very useful for to compare the performance of different models specific to your application. So here you have all the performances. If you want to deep dive into, let's say, I want only question answering models, then we are filtering that upon that. If you want only models that are from Azure OpenAI, you can view all of them. So you can see GPT 3.5 Turbo in comparison with others, 3.5 turbos, another variant 4, and stuff like that. So you can compare the model accuracy, you can compare the coherence, the groundedness, and the fluency as well. So you have all the parameters over here, and if you want to deep dive into some specific models, you can and get them over here as well. So you have, let's say, GPT 432K, you can compare them over here, right? Then you have some sample prompts with which you can generate quick solutions for common use cases. So you can view all the use cases over here, and you have some, if you have any OpenAI resources, you can find them over here. The Azure AI services. So uh, Azure AI Studio actually brings together all the AI services offered on Azure, Microsoft Azure, not only OpenAI. Let's say now you want to create an application that takes in an input, let's say in one language, and give you an output in another language, or give you a spoken output in another language. You will be probably utilizing a model to convert and incorporate speech capabilities as well, which converts the returned output in speech. So similarly, you might have, if you are building a multimodal AI where you have some documents and stuff like that, you can implement vision as well, which reads the document. Let's say it reads a document again in another language, and then converts it to into and outputs a text in a different language. You can bring in vision over there. Similarly, you have multiple applications over here: translation, extracting PII, and much more. So how does AI Studio work? So AI Studio has hubs. So every hub which you create over here has certain projects. So on the top level, let's create one right now. So I'll just call it um, co- mm, build. Let's say on Copilot. One, let's say. So let's call it build on Copilot. I think I need to refresh this. So once you, let's say, leave it default as of now, and you can select a location. So you need to keep that in mind that um, when you create a hub, it creates an OpenAI resource and Azure AI services resource in the background. But you need to keep in mind what location you're choosing, because based on the location you're choosing, there might be some features which are not available to you. So there might be some models that are not available. There might be some specific features that are not available as well. Let's say, for example, in vision and speech API, there are some features that are available only in certain visions. So for maximum availability, we'll just choose ECUS for now, and you can connect the Azure OpenAI service, and you can also connect Azure AI Search. So I will create a new one so that we are on the, so let's say demo Azure Search. So it will create a new AI search resource as well in the background. So once you click next, so it will show you this. And as you see, it provisions a few services in your Azure account. So AI Hub to host all your projects and building the applications. AI Services, it's a multi service account where you can have the different AI services, maybe it speech, translation, document intelligence, vision, everything in one account rather than creating a separate one. And of course, Azure OpenAI service as well. Then AI search, if when you want to put your own data, which we will see in a bit, when we want to add our own data, we need to create indexing on that data. So Azure AI Search does that for us. Azure Storage Account to store the data, and Key Vault for storing all our credentials securely. So and this even the security part is extracted away from you. It's already done for you in the background, because all the secrets and credentials are stored in Key Vault. So while uh, this is being deployed, we'll quickly jump back on our presentation. Right. So So, so first part is of course unified platform. Second is the data and search. So, like I mentioned, you can incorporate your own data and ground the responses of the Copilot to your data. Now, what is this grounding that we are talking about? So, like I mentioned earlier, now when we say that I want hiking shoes, what are the best hiking shoes if I go for hiking to this certain place? I will get responses from internet and all the other different sources. But I want the responses limited to my data, my products, right? So that is what is called grounding. So you are grounding the response to your own data, right? So you, of course, when you are grounding the responses, you need to ensure that the data that you put in is actually accurate and accurate, because as you know, garbage in, garbage out. When you put any data that is inaccurate, full of errors, the results that are produced by your AI services, no matter how powerful compute or how powerful it is, it will always spit out garbage data. So to make your application, of course, effective and more useful, you need to ensure that the data that is being put in that is actually clean and serve the purpose. So let's say in this case, let's say I want to serve this application to people uh, who like adventure and who like to go on camping or hiking. But if I put the data with all the walking shoes, no hiking shoes, nothing, then the application is renders useless for them, right? So data, having the clean and accurate data is immensely important for any AI application to serve the purpose, right? So when we are putting in data, there are multiple sources that we can take it from. So you can take it from your blob storage account, you can put it from data lake, you have it from Fabric One Lake, and also other clouds via One Lake. So, and also finally you can upload it always from your local files, and behind the scenes it will create the data on cloud, right? So before we dive into the foundational models, yeah, we'll see over here, coming back over here, we can see that our hub is created, and you see that there are three resources connected to it. If I log on to my Azure portal, I will be able to see these resources over there as well. So there's an Azure AI search, OpenAI service, and the multi-services account. So over here, let's say if you want to collaborate, you can always add users and give them the appropriate role for them to access this hub as well. Right? Now, every every hub has like as you can see, has projects associated with it. The projects are the core entity where you will be creating your, let's say, your co-pilots and the prompt flows and everything, right? So we will just quickly go ahead and create one project. I'm just gonna leave the default name for now. So behind the scenes, it will create a project for me, and uh, inside the project we will be able to see more options over here where we can create our prompt flows, and uh, we can have our deployments, codes, and everything. Yeah, as you can see over here. So over here, you now, inside this project, I can actually deploy more models. So You have all these components over here. Let's say at first, let's create a deployment. Let's deploy a new model for us over here for us to use. So we have a list of models, total 1634. You can always filter that from here. um, for this we will just take a gpt 35 turbo. You have turbo 16K as well, which based on your application, that you can select the appropriate model. For this demo, I'm just gonna uh, create this one. So so when you deploy a new model, of course it will ask you for the deployment name, which should be unique in a project, and the model version which you want to use. So you can either use a default one or select an appropriate model which you would like to work with. It is connected to our Azure OpenAI resource, which was created when we created the hub, and the tokens per rate limit is applied over here to keep the cost minimum. So you can based on your application, again you can select the tokens that you require. And the content filter, we will talk about this in a few minutes. I will start the deployment. So it has now deployed the GPT-35 Turbo model, and now I can open this in Playground, where I can now just play around with this model. So let's say, for example, you say, uh, I can say, tell me about Microsoft React. Let's see. So it will. Uh, okay, so let's wait for it. I think it has not finished deployment yet, but yeah. So right now it will be utilizing our base model to get the data. So whatever data GPT-35 Turbo has been trained on, it will return the query from that. We have not grounded our responses just yet, right? So while this is being deployed, we'll just come back to uh, our uh, presentation. So one thing which I wanted to mention is, of course, it's when you are building your Copilot, you're not restricted to only text-based responses. Because with Azure AI Studio, you can have multimodal AI available, so you can have responses as videos, image, and text as well, and vice versa. Your input can be a video, image, or text. Let's say you input an image, you say, okay, describe this image. Or let's say, for example, you are browsing the internet and you see uh, a place on somewhere, and you want to know where it is. So maybe you can upload that image to your Copilot and ask where is this place, and it will actually um, describe that to you, right? So you have a lot of Azure AI Vision support, like I mentioned. And of course we have retrieval augmentation um, as well, so which we'll talk about in a few minutes. So of course, when we are talking about data, when we say we want to ground the data, and we are of course inputting the data. Let's say my product catalog, which I am uploading, it has all the different kinds of descriptions and types and everything. Now I don't want my competitor to use the to get the same I don't want my competitors customers to get the same results uh, as mine, which I am training it on. Or I don't want my competitor to use my model as well to train their own copilots. So Azure AI is actually not using your data to train any of the foundation models. it is always it always utilizes their own foundation AI models to get the responses. Your data is only used at a later stage to filter out the response, if you would like to say that. Excuse me. So all the comprehensive compliance and security controls are already in place, so you can be assured that your data is not going out of your tenant, or your data is not being used to train any other models. So there's RAG and fine tuning. I'm just gonna talk about that more in the demo. So more talking about the model catalog which we just saw. So you have all the models available from Azure OpenAI, you have from Llama, Meta, Hugging Face, everything. So you can actually utilize any of those models and fine tune them as well if you want to, if you want to for your own application, right? So I'm just gonna come back over here so that I can just show you this in action. Let me just refresh. Hmm, it's let's wait for this one. It has succeeded. Okay. Let me just go back to an old project, other project of mine. Let's go to the other one. I can show that here from here. So let's say we come back here. I see. Tell me about Microsoft Reactor. So it will give me all these and the response from here, from the data that it has been trained on, right? So now let's say for example I say, what can I do in Dubai? It will give me a, a, a very generic response where you can give it can give you some idea of what to do in Dubai. now yeah, I can actually go ahead and ground it, as in you can tell the in this that you are a travel agent, say you are a knowledgeable travel agent, and your responses should be, let's say your responses should be friendly and professional, and let's say travel agent, and you need to guide people on where they can visit and stay. Okay, should be, let's say we apply these changes over here. We clear the chat, and now we can say, what can I do in Dubai? So let me just again. So yeah, now it has started giving me the recommendations to for staying as well. Let's say now we want to say that we want only two-line responses. So respond with a maximum of maximum of, say, 100 words. So I'm just gonna apply this, and I'm gonna, what can I do in Dubai? So it has reduced the response. Let's say if I say maximum of uh, 2 lines. So you see how the prompt that we are giving to the system, it is acknowledging that, and applying those changes in real time. Now I could have done this as a, now when you're using Copilot in general, you can type that directly to the Copilot, not as a system message, but as a user. You can type that to the Copilot. Imagine you are a travel agent and you need to provide the responses. So it can, that will take effect, that will have the same effect as which we are doing over here. So let's say if I do this here now, it will just give me 2 lines, right? So that's how, that's one way of grounding, but this is not with our own data. I will come back to adding our own data as well in a minute, right? So you have more stuff over here. We are going to focus on the chat part. Here you see that we have some data connected, which is like brochures of different places. We have some indexes where, now if you go and, let's say for example, I'll show you how you can upload your own data. So let's say I am gonna upload some new files. So I'm gonna upload a folder. Oops. Yep. So I uploaded these, and I give my data name brochures 2. Now my data is available in, for any of my copilots that I create over here to use, right? So, and when now, like I mentioned earlier, when you want to search your own data, you need to have indexes, right? So that's what you create over here. You select your data source, which is your data in Azure AI Studio, and we select this one, brushes 2. We have the AI search service, which is this index name. Let's say brochures index 2 again. You can also now select the virtual machines that you want to use for indexing jobs. So now you can select from the recommended options, or you can select from all the options, and you can even search by the VM name. For the sake of it, we are just gonna keep it auto select. uh, Now you can add something called vector search. Now what is vector search? Now there are different types of searches that are available. You can have keyword search, which is the exact matching of a phrase. So let's say for example, if there's a specific phrase, let's say in Dubai, or or what can I do in Dubai, or where can I stay in Dubai, or just stay in Dubai. um, so it will actually search for that. With a keyword search, you will search for that exact match of those keywords, and then give you the result. But with vector search, it will actually behind the scenes, they divide them into tokens and have a similarity matrix. So I'm not going to get into that and those technicalities yet. But yeah, this provides more comprehensive. Vector search provides more comprehensive and more better experience to the customer, where it will do a similarity search, and even if there are spelling mistakes, and stuff, it will still work, and it will give you not only those specific search results, but also also similar results to enhance it further, right? So but for adding vector search, you need to have an embedding model created. So either you can create a new one, or uh, you can add you can choose an existing one. You need to know that the Azure Open AI embedding model, which I we have already deployed, it will be using your data. So you, by doing this, you actually accept that you are okay with using that model utilizing your data, not to train, but to create the embeddings and stuff, not for training. So over here we will be creating the index. So as you can see, there are a few jobs that run for to training, so cracking and chunking. And then once it is completed, uh, it will show up in the indexes over here, right? So that's the adding your data part. So we'll wait for the index to complete, and then we'll move forward with our uh, prompt flows, right? So coming back over here, so yeah, so we'll just wait for this data. In the meantime, I can show you what I had created earlier. So just so prompt flows are actually nothing but what happens behind the scenes, which we saw in the chat playground. Let's say, for example, over here, I can either view the code, what happened here, or I can actually go to prompt flow, which will create a new flow for me, which I had created earlier. Let's say, for example, travel chat. So it actually creates this. So you can add the chat history, you can add the question, this is the inputs that is taken on the top. The outputs, you can map that. And then you can see over here in the chat node, you can actually see what is the system message and how you want the outputs to appear, and how it is processed. So you can further customize this by adding Python nodes. You can add more prompt nodes and LLM models. So the possibilities again become endless. So you can add different nodes, filter the responses. I can add an index lookup to ground the response more uh, with my data. So all those possibilities are done over here, right? So for example, in this case, I had given this system message, which is very organized. So the objectives, the capabilities, and the instructions, right? Instead of having a specific one liner statement, you can have these kind of instructions, which becomes very specific to the prompt, and gives you much more better accuracy than having one statement. So of course, coming to the from the prompt perspective, um, having the more specific and the prompt is, the better results you will get from your Copilot. Because the more details that you provide, let's say in this case, for example, you should engage in a professional and friendly manner, and you should use available resources. You should tailor the response to specific travel needs. So it will actually take in account the needs and everything. So uh, you can always add more to this. Let's say, for example, like I mentioned, like I did earlier, I do not want the output to be like very lengthy, just limited to two statements or 100 words. So things like that, you can add it to your Copilot, right? So just gonna cancel this. Let's see if our index is ready. Okay, it's still being run, right? So I'm gonna show you quickly how does the index lookup actually look like when you are getting it from your data. So excuse me. So if you see over here, there are more nodes, so you can modify the query with the history. So you have another prompt. You were given the following conversation history and the user next question. Rephrase the question. The conversation is irrelevant. Just restate the original question. So it can actually modify the query based on the history that we have, right, and give you follow-up questions. And it can now, let's say in this case, I had already created an index, so it can utilize an existing index, which is my data, and show the responses, ground the responses based on that. So I got this input from here, and then I can specify what kind of keyword search I want. And and the next one is a Python code which generates a prompt context. So again, you have the power to modify this and put as per your requirements. So uh, this unlocks endless possibilities as well. So you can generate your own Python scripts. You can build your own custom tools to filter the responses and do further on the output. Then it's again, you get the prompt variants. So you can create more system messages and get the uh, ma- position it to the customer. And finally you have the context and you get the outputs on the top. So which again you can utilize it further with the history, and the loop closes over there, right? So um, just waiting for the index, it's still running. But yeah, so I'll just quickly, in the interest of time, um, uh, safe and responsible AI, which is the biggest thing. So um, Microsoft has a few AI principles for building responsible and secure AI solutions. Which first is fairness, where the AI based solution should treat everyone fairly. Reliability and safety, so the solution should be reliable and consistently perform. The privacy and security, should not the solution should not have any privacy concerns or security issues. Inclusiveness, it should not create bias against any person, race, gender. It should be transparent. uh, we should The solution uh, should let the customers know how their data is being used. And of course, the developer of the solution should be accountable for the solutions that they are providing. That way we make sure that that the solutions that are developed are safe and secure, and with ethical standards, developed with ethical standards. So of course, there's more and more research and the governance policies being developed around this. And even for Azure Open AI service, it is not uh, available to everyone. You have to request to get access for it. You fill a form, you get an approval, only then you can access the Azure Open AI service, just because of this reason, just to protect everyone's interests, and to uh, to maintain the ethics and the principles of responsible AI. So we have talked about prompt flow a little, but now let's say, for example, now you have created your Copilot. Now you won't need to evaluate the results. So let's say, for example, you give a certain response. Now, coming back to our shoes example, let's say you say, okay, what is the use of this specific product, or what is the price of this specific product. Now you are expecting, because you have grounded the responses with your data, you are expecting to receive a particular response. Now you can actually create evaluations that will um, that will where you can put the expected response and the result, and you can actually evaluate it, and accept or reject a result, and based on that it will automatically train and train the model. And also you can then modify the model or your data to have more examples, or to have more detail in your data, to so that your model is returning the appropriate response, your copilot is returning the appropriate response, right? So I'm just gonna quickly show you what is the, or like, okay, we have got our index ready. Let's try to utilize that. Okay. Okay. So let's say again we're coming to that. What can I do in the Y? We have not grounded it in any way, so we'll get everything from here. Now we'll say we wanna add our project index. We clear it out. Now let's see. If I say what can I do in the Y? It has not taken my on it. Oh, we can also say where do I see the Y? Okay, it's for some reason it's not using the index. Let's try this one. Where do I stay in the Bible? Yeah. So now you see that there's it has given these specific places, right? Now let's check out the the brochure that we had. So we had these, so it has actually grounded these to specific ones. And yeah, so you can actually hmm, so you can actually ground it to your data, and it will give you the response. And then if you go to your prompt flow for further customization, you can add it to your index lookup. You can add it to your index lookup and then modify it further. Okay, this is something. Okay, let me just refresh this page. You can add the lookup over here. Okay, it's not showing that for some reason. Yeah. So if, and now if you wanna test your playground is just for the basic inputs. So once you wanna make your changes and add your own custom tools in this, you start a compute session, and then you can start a chat session over here itself, and then uh, you can test your copilot and make amendments, and then test it in real time again, right? So I think we're almost out of time. Um, so you can scan these to go further into these. You get the Copilot Foundations. You Foundations learning. There's a Copilot Foundations learning path where you can learn about Copilot Studio, as well as building Copilot with Azure AI Studio. And there's a more detailed learning path where you can see how you can build generative AI solutions with Azure OpenAI. So you can scan this, and finally, if so once you can scan this and then go through the learning paths, and then um, if you want access to Azure OpenAI service, you would have to request for put a request for access with your organization email. Personal emails don't work at this moment. And then you can specify what services you want, what models you want access to, and then that you will be granted it accordingly, as per the review. Thank you so much again, everyone, for attending today, and I look forward to connecting with you.
Hi,
I
Ahmad.
hope this session was helpful.
We had a fantastic session. We do have few questions coming
Mhm.
in.
Mhm.
Uh, if we have Chetan asking like, can we connect Fabric's one lake data with Azure OpenAI, with Azure Open
Yes,
Studio, and then Copilot generative will do a query with one lake data.
yes, that's absolutely possible. So you can actually get data from Fabric One Lake, or even your data lake as well. So both of them are possible.
Okay. So we have another question like, is there an option of adding data where a part of Microsoft OpenAI as a sample app, but also want to give some feature of choosing index?
Um, as choosing index dynamically, is it, if that's a question?
No, no idea, but
But
looks
um,
specific.
yeah, let me just show you. So over here, you can connect your data from prop storage, data lake, and one lake as well, right? So you can select the one lake artifact, or for data lake you can add the connections over here. So all of this is possible. From the index perspective, in your prompt flow, you can actually select what index you will be using. So let's say, for example, over here in the lookup, in the embeddings, you will be selecting what is, where is it coming from. Is it from registered index, AI search, or another file? So if you select an index, so you can select the all the available indexes over here, right? So yeah, I hope that
I
answers
hope
the
that
question.
answers. Yeah. So we have another question
Mhm.
like, for multi-language chatbots, is there
Mhm.
any specific model to use or a specific configuration, or is it like by default integrated?
So actually, for multilingual chatbots, you have different. I mean, you have different models for each thing. So let's say if you for I'll just show you in model catalogs. You have models from for different languages. Let's say for let's say for Japanese. So there's one way is, of course, to use the language specific models. The other one, which I mentioned earlier, was that you can actually go. Let me just go back, and then you can actually incorporate the Azure AI services itself, where which will be using the models and giving you the output in the appropriate language. So you can actually utilize the Azure AI services on that.
Yes.
So
Any
you
other
can
questions?
actually,
Final call to ask questions. I think let's call for a wrap then, Ahmed.
sure.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
joining
much.
us today. I hope you all have a great evening and a day ahead. And yes, thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
all. Thanks,
Thank
Amar, for being on the show again.
thank you. Bye.